Now with the new patch, we got a bunch of Orb and specifically Crucifix nerfs. Now the patch notes were a little bit confusing because the Korean patch notes look different than ours. But besides that, there's one big nerf for all Orb players that is not documented in neither of the patch notes. And this is, from now on, you shouldn't play with multiple orbs in one group anymore. You should only have one orb per party. This is actually so huge. Okay, so let me first summarize all the Crucifix nerfs. Then I will explain you the Undocumented nerf, and in the end I will explain you what you have to change so that you are probably still the best PvE DPS class in the game. Let's go. Okay, so the first nerf that Crucifix got was the shield stacking. You're not able to stack any shields from the same source anymore. So having just like 5 crucifixes and everyone gives everyone the shield all the time and they all stack up, this is not possible anymore. Then the second nerf was towards detonation mark. Now detonation mark only accumulates a specific amount of damage. Now before, detonation mark just accumulated 40% of all the damage that you did to your target. So if you had 2 detonation marks on the target, 80% of all your damage will be accumulated and dealt after a short duration again. So this is not possible anymore. Now they are limiting the damage that you can deal with detonation mark. So this was the second nerf. And the third nerf is the damage from Stellar Dash from your satellites. So let me explain that real quick. So if you use Stellar Dash, you always use Stellar Dash from your character. Then you copy it from all your 3 orbs. And then you also copy that from all your satellites, correct? So you use that from your own satellite, but also from the satellites of your teammates. And now this damage here from the satellites got reduced by 50%. Right? Those just deal 50% less damage. But that was all kind of documented in both of the patch notes. Not really good, but it was documented. But now there is an additional nerf. Okay, so in the last patch, those satellites from your teammates, you were always able to use them. If they had a satellite around them, you were able to use them with your Stellar Dash. Either they applied the satellites themselves because they are a crucifix, or someone used satellite copy, which gives everyone in your party such a satellite. But as soon as a player had a satellite around him, you were able to use those. Now with the new patch, this is not possible anymore. You can only use the satellites that you have applied. And now it becomes really stupid. Let's say this is me here, right? So I use my satellite copy and I give all my teammates a satellite. Then I can use Stellar Dash and can also shoot that from my teammates. Okay? Then I just do it the regular way. I use it from my satellite and I use it from the satellites of my teammates. But the problem is, this guy here, let's call him Pete, right? This is Pete. Pete can't even use his own satellite because I use satellite copy. If he uses now his Stellar Dash, he only copies his Stellar Dash from his 3 orbs and from himself, but not even from his own satellite. Now let's say my satellites run out, right? And Pete is using his AoE satellite. And now all of those get blue, right? Then he can copy his Stellar Dash on everyone, but I can't do that anymore. This is such a huge nerf if you don't know that. Now, of course, now everyone could just play with the non-AoE version, right? Then everyone could copy his Stellar Dash from its own satellite. But then you lose just a lot of potential from this class. So what do you want to do? You only want to play with 1 orb per party. I'm not talking here just about crucifixes. I'm talking about Enigma, Oracle, whatsoever. You're only allowed to play 1 of those per party. And at least if you want to min-max your damage a little bit. And let's be honest here, this is completely stupid. So many players all swap to Crucifix. And now you're not allowed to play more than 1 Crucifix per party. This is so ridiculously stupid. So all of you playing Crucifix right now, you might probably not get into groups anymore soon. Not because you deal not a lot of damage, but there's already another Crucifix taking your spot. Oh, and let's not even talk about Enigma or Oracles or whatsoever. You don't even try to get a spot in a group. I'm really not sure what these guys are doing, but stuff like this is simply not okay. But yeah, do with the information what you want. I think this is completely stupid. So don't get me wrong, I'm happy that they nerf it, but this is just not the right way. You really want to force all the players to swap again? Bro, this is not okay. This is simply not okay, and I will call that out because it's just stupid. So the rage is over. Let's talk about what you have to change on Crucifix to still be rank 1 on every world boss. The first thing, of course, you do is you are the only Crucifix per party. This is, of course, something that you always have to do now. The second thing that I would change is I would change Detonation Mark to Mortal Mark. So what they did here on both of these abilities is that they limited the accumulated damage. Of course, you can reset that accumulated damage every time you use Detonation Mark or Mortal Mark. So let's say you use Detonation Mark, then you accumulate damage, boom, you use the new Detonation Mark, it resets the accumulated damage. So what you can just do is you can spam Detonation Mark really often. But as a Crucifix player, you deal a lot of damage. So you would have to reset that really every 1 to 2 seconds. This can be really annoying. Now, Detonation Mark is accumulating 40% damage. Mortal Mark is also accumulating damage, but only 10% of your damage. So for you to reach this accumulation cap takes way longer. Of course, you deal then also less damage with the accumulated damage, but Mortal Mark gives us an additional effect that is not impacted by this cap. So how Mortal Mark works is that if we have Mortal Mark on our enemy, every hit that we do on our target, we deal a little bit of extra damage. So that means if we do a lot of hits, if we have a lot of damage numbers, then this ability is really good. And as you remember, we do so many hits as a Crucifix. If we use Stellar Dash, we use it from ourselves, we use it from our satellite, we use it from all our 3 orbs, and then we use it from our 5 teammates. Okay? 5 more Stellar Dashes. This is per Stellar Dash. We use 10 projectiles. Then we have the lightning spec, which just doubles all our hits. And so many other things. We actually dealing so many hits with this class now. That's why even before the nerf, Mortal Mark was already a possibility. And the cool thing is, if you play with Mortal Mark, you just have to use it every 3 seconds. The same as you did it before. This is just really good. So already a few Crucifix players tested that yesterday for me, and it's working really good. And yeah, if you're the only Crucifix player and you play with Mortal Mark, yeah, really nothing changes. You will probably still be rank 1 on every world boss. Yes, of course, that only counts if you have really good gear. There are now a lot of other classes that come really close. Invocator, Gladiator, a lot of things seem to be really strong now. We will, of course, over the weekend do a lot of tests here, and we will see who's actually the best DPS class right now in PvE. But yeah, from what I have seen so far, if you play Crucifix the correct way, it seems to be still the best DPS class that we have right now. But the problem is, you can have only one of those in your party. As mentioned before, I really don't like how they nerf things. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, it is what it is. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see ya in the next one.